Welcome back in, guys. Three bold takes. Our top 25 rankings for Quinn, Chase, and Freddie are on the way. We've done two videos so far. We are getting to the 11 to 15 range. We're getting into knee-deep territory. Some really good teams here. Quinn, I got to talk to you first. What are you feeling?
My number 15, guys, I'm going with the Oklahoma Sooners. Now, you look at this Oklahoma program, I don't think they're terrible. I think they're heading in the correct direction with Brett Venables. We broke this down when we were talking about our Oklahoma in 2024 video. I think they're a pretty good team. They're just going into a much more difficult situation than what they were in. And I don't think they're caught up to that level, especially with how bad of a deal they got when it came to like the teams they drew for 2024. They're playing Texas, they're playing LSU, they're playing Tennessee, they're playing Ole Miss, they're playing Alabama. That's a really tough draw. I think they also have Missouri, if I'm not mistaken. So they're going to have a tough adjustment period in 2024, but I still think they come out the other end of this as like an anywhere from a 7 to 9 win program for the 2024 season. And I think they're going to get a big upset win in one of those big games. I just am not sure which one it's going to be. I personally have that Alabama game the week before the Iron Bowl circled as a really big upset opportunity for them. At number 14, this is where I'm going with Clemson and Dabo. I really like the streak they hit going on to the end of the season. Let's not mix words here. They were having a terrible, terrible 2023, and they got called out on it. Specifically, Dabo got called out on it, and the team completely turned around. I mean, they look like a different team by the end of the season than they did at the start of November. I think they're going to carry that energy into next year. And frankly, I don't see, unlike last year where I could see that Florida State was clear cut, probably going to be the best team in the conference. I don't see that for 2024. I think it's definitely a three-team race between Miami, Clemson, and Florida State. And that's me giving Miami a little more credit than they've necessarily earned. And that being said, my number 13 is the Florida State Seminoles. I think they're going to have a bit of a drop off in 2024 from where they were last year. I think that's natural whenever you have the disappointing end of the season that they had, where you have an undefeated year, you're left out of the playoffs, and then you get smacked harder than anyone's ever been smacked in a bowl game ever. Like that's gonna leave a sour taste in your mouth going into the next year. And I just don't think they're going to fully overcome it to be at the top end of the sport like they were this past season. For me at number 12, this is where I'm slotting Tennessee. Now, I understand there is potential for the allegations to really kind of derail the season with Nico, but assuming that everyone gets to play and nothing really changes for Tennessee, I really like the prospect of Nico at quarterback. And I think the Volunteers are set up in this new look of the SEC to make a splash and make a lot of noise going into the 2024 season. I just really like their offense in particular. And I think we saw that Heupel proved he could actually coach defense last year with Tennessee. Because for those people who just assume that they won the same way in 2023 that they did in 22, that's not the case. Their offense kind of struggled week in, week out, and their defense is what really kept them around. If they can bring that defensive effort and pair it with a Heupel offense that I think will be reinvigorated under Nico, this team has a legit outside shot at making a lot of noise in the SEC. Obviously, you got your heavy favorites, which we will get into soon, but I think Tennessee's right there on that cusp of being able to punch through. I would not be shocked, basically, to find out that Tennessee had an amazing 2024 and made an SEC title run. Like, that would not surprise me at all. My number 11 is our defending national champions, Michigan Wolverines. I think there's going to be a drop off with, I mean, you look at the team, they were carried by really a core that had been there for the entire run of these three playoff appearances in a row. All those seniors are gone. Your coach is gone. There's just a lot of changeover happening at Michigan. Now, I'm not saying they're not capable of winning the Big Ten in 2024. Absolutely not. They are totally capable of that. However, I just favor three other teams in particular in the conference over them going into next year. And I just feel like they're kind of sitting on the outside of the top 10 going into 2024.
Yes, so for my 15, I've got new Big 12 competitor in Arizona. I love what they did last year. And I think coming into the ACC, or not the ACC, excuse me, the Big 12, I think they're going to have a lot of success. I haven't taken a look at their schedule quite yet and done a deep dive. We will do that in the offseason, or a little bit later in the offseason, rather. But I like Arizona here after what they did last year. At number 14, I have Oklahoma. Same thing for you, Quinn. Like they're a good football team. They are, and I think their competition is going to get a whole lot harder, obviously. So I would not be surprised if you see a decline in record from last year, even if they're a better football team, which is a hard thing for some people to fathom. But if you know what we're talking about, then you would agree that you can be a better football team but have a worse record. Um, at number 13, this is where I have the defending national champions in Michigan as well. Huge drop off here. I really do believe so. With Harbaugh being gone and obviously all the seniors, that defense, I don't think that defense is going to be near what it was last year. Obviously, the offense isn't either. So we will see what Michigan can do under this new regime, which we haven't seen in quite some time. Somebody besides Harbaugh being the head coach at Michigan. So very excited to see that. At number 12, this is where I have LSU. Um, Slotting in LSU here at 12 because I really don't know where else to put them. Like I think they're better, or they're going to be better than probably a lot of these teams that's ranked, 25 through 13. But I can't say with a shadow of a doubt that they're going to be better than the teams ranked above them. 1 through 11. So this is where I have LSU. I think Brian Kelly is a great head coach. I think he's going to have a better team in 2024 than he had last year, even though Jaden Daniels will be gone. That's okay. I know that's crazy to say, but that's okay. Because a lot of good recruits come out of LSU or come to LSU. They were very active in the transfer portal as well. And then at 11, I have Florida State here. Although they had one of the top recruiting classes and transfer portal classes in the offseason so far, I do think you see a drop off with them simply because of what happened last year. DJU is in town now for his, fourth stop? I guess third stop technically. Um, don't know how that's going to go. Now, I think he is a stable quarterback, but I don't think he's a Jordan Travis. Definitely a different play style as well. DJ can use his legs, but that's not one of his predominant strengths like Jordan Travis was. So very interested to see how he fits in that system. But yeah, that rounds out my 15 through 11.
Yeah, 15 for me, kind of echoing you guys. It's going to be Tennessee here. Nico under the Josh Heupel offense. If we even get, I think he's going to be end up being better than Hendon Hooker. And so in Heupel's offense, that's only going to make him soar higher, which is very scary for the SEC. And then, of course, you couple that with the defense that they've had this past season. 14 is going to be Oklahoma for me, mainly because I think they're going to be around this area for the preseason rankings, but do they finish here at the end of the year? I'm not so sure just because of this schedule. The schedule is crazy. If they had maybe Texas's schedule, they stay a top 15 team, I think. 13 for me, man, I'm going to go with the Irish and Notre Dame. I think they're going to be really good this year. I thought they were going to be amazing last year. Sam Hartman, everybody comes in, and then they were a decent team. Lost a couple ACC games that they shouldn't have. And then they bring in Riley Leonard this year, and so everybody's expecting that hype to be around it there. I'm going to leave him at 13 just because I need to see that step up this year. 12 for me, baby. Give me the Utes. These are my Big 12 champs right here. I got Utah. I think they're going to take a couple weeks to get used to it in conference play for Big 12, but I think they should be running and gunning from the get-go and should be the number one team in the Big 12 from the start. So I'm really excited for them. And guys, again, if you've been following us all season long, Cam Rising is officially back. Utah on top, guys. And number 11 for me, this is where I put the runners up from this season. Washington. You lose your head coach, you lose your offensive coordinator, you lose all of your receiver or starting receivers, I believe you lose your quarterback, a lot of production gone from that team. And I really think not only were the players great, but I think the offensive coordinator and the system that they had in place really elevated them. And so without that, with the guy coming from Arizona, Jed Fish, we're going to see how different it is for Washington this season. Then they also got to go play in the Big Ten. So it's going to be very different season for the Huskies. So that's my 15 through 11. Guys, thank you so much for watching. We have the 10 through 6 coming up. Make sure you stick around for Freddie, Quinn, and my predictions for those rankings.